A'udhu billah minash shaitanir rajim. We seek refuge in God from Satan the rejected. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most merciful, the most gracious. Um, Inshallah, today we will have actually a very special session for the mathematical miracle of Quran. And there are some numbers in Quran that are quite extensive, and they are really giant. If you look at them, they are like maybe 12,000 digits long, maybe longer. And they pertain to the mathematical structure of the Quran, which shows that the chapters of the Quran, as well as the um, you know uh, verses in Quran, are all divinely controlled, and the numbers are exactly what they are supposed to be, no more and no less. And God willing, today we will talk about this mathematical structure in detail, and that's why we have like a special session. So this is not like a regular Quran study session. It's more like of a presentation of the mathematical miracle, something which is verifiable for your own, and we have the link provided to everybody. You can go online, and inshallah, I will walk you through it on how to uh, verify it for yourself, so that we see for ourselves that these miracles are beyond the capability of mankind and humanity, and that would absolutely show that Quran is a mathematically coded book from actually the Creator Himself. So, God willing, we will start with this. So, we actually I have created a folder, and this is online. You can reach it. So I have left links under one of the studies, the study on May 27th. So if you open the study for the May 27th with Brother Justin, then go to this section, show more. If you click on it, you will see that there are some links here provided for you. One of them is the link to the Google Drive, which directs you to this folder. And the numbers that I'm going to talk about are mentioned here. And then we have another link, which is this one, which is submission.ws, which goes to some more mathematical miracles that, God willing, we will talk about these as well today. And we have a link to the actually calculator, the giant number 19 calculator on the website submission.guide. Technically, this is the website which is connected to the app that you have on your cell phones, that you can just click on the calculator on the left ribbon, and then this will help you actually verify it for yourself whether these numbers are a multiple of 19 or not. Okay? So, God willing, we will start. Now, the most important thing to have in mind is that if you actually go to the actually English Quran, you will see that in Appendix 1, there is this section that there are some numbers which are really giant, and then these numbers, for me personally, they were like for some time a question of how to see them for myself. That not that I had any doubt about it. I knew that they were a multiple of 19, but the point is that I didn't know how to see them for myself. So, by the will of God, I was inspired to create some um, Word files that help me, visually see these numbers, these giant numbers. And as we know in Surah 74, uh, uh, where verse 31, where God talks about actually the why 19, then there is a reason for those who believe in this, and that will be for those who believe in this, that their faith will be augmented. So when you see these things for yourself, your faith will be augmented, God willing. Now, the first number that we are going to talk about is this number on page 398, superhuman numerical combination. So I'm going to summarize these numbers for you, but you can read them yourself, the descriptions, and then check with what we are doing today here. Okay. So the first number which is mentioned here. Now, if we go back to the folder that I just showed you, the Google Drive folder, I have created actually a color-coded file, which I named color-coded verses only, and these are actually the building block for the rest of the combinations and mathematical structures that we are going to end up with. And so we have verses of Quran just mentioned here. So Surah number 1, only the verses. Verse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Surah number 2, only the verses here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 until 286. Surah 3, 1 to 200. Surah 4, 1 to 176. You can check these things for yourself as well to see the numbers of the verses of each chapter, and these are going to be the same. We're not going to change anything about them because they are the verses of Quran and the chapters of Quran, just color coded so that we can visually see what is happening with regard to the big numbers. Okay, so this is the building block that we are going to use for the rest of the numbers. Now, if you go to number 1, the number 1 that we have actually here, this number 1. If we go to this one, I have created 2 files. One of the files is those building blocks, those color-coded sections, and then started to add those descriptions to these numbers. Okay, and then the second number would be putting all these numbers together to make it one giant number. So this is the process that I have done by the will of God, actually for each and every number. So the first number is technically the total number of verses of each chapter brought in the beginning. So say chapter 1 has 7 verses. So 7 comes here. That will be the total number of the verses of this chapter. Chapter 2, 286 verses. Well, we have put 286 here. Chapter 3, 200 verses, we have put 200 here, as well as for the rest of the chapters. And intentionally, I have not made these colorful so that you can see the difference between the colored ones and the non-colored ones. Till the end of Quran, if you go here, you see chapter 114, we have 6 verses, and then 6 is here. Now, the next step would be to put all these numbers together as one giant number. And when we do this, we end up with this, subhanAllah. This number is a multiple of 19. And how can we know that? If you simply just if you're on Mac, you can go with Command A and then copy and paste it. Or you could go simply with the shortcuts, Command A, Command C, that will be copying, and then coming to the giant calculator that we have on submission.guide, and then Command V. And when you do that, subhanAllah, you see that this number is a multiple of 19. And if you go to the end of that part, you see that it shows the number of the digits, 12,692 digit long. Okay, so this is a very, very big number. Okay, it's technically something I just counted with. If you look at it, the font, if it is 12, and if you just put this number in one big line, you will end up with something like 30 meters long. So think about like a building which is like 30 meters tall. This number is that tall. Okay, and subhanAllah, this number is a multiple of 19. And how can you make sure that this calculator is working correctly? If you just type 114, you see that it says that it's a multiple of 19. But if you type 115, it says it's not a multiple of 19. So the calculator is working fine, and you can check it for yourself. Now, so the first number was this number. Now we move to the second number, God willing. The second number is actually the same number, with this difference that we are moving the total numbers to the end, right? So we have 7 verses for chapter 1. We're moving 7 at the end. We have 286 verses for chapter 2. We move 286 at the end. So these numbers were in the beginning. Now we are putting them at the end. of each and every chapter. 200 was here, now we are putting 200 here. We are just moving the numbers around. So, and how can you see that? So this would be basically the second number that we have here in Appendix 1. So this is the second number. That's why I just gave it number 2. That's the reason. And then if you go till the end of Quran, you will see that chapter 113, 5, you put 5 here, chapter 114, actually 6, and then you put it here. Now, there is one thing here. When you're doing this, you're putting the total number of verses at the end of each and every chapter. That would tell us that, okay, now we must have the total number of verses of the Quran as well, because this is how we have, Messenger of Covenant has done it in second number, meaning that when we are putting the total number of verses of each chapter at the end, all right, here, this is chapter 2, this is chapter 1, this is chapter 113, this is chapter 114, these are the total number of verses. You have to put the total number of verses of Quran at the end of it as well. So that's why we have 6,234. And that will be the total number of verses for the numbered verses in Quran, subhanAllah. Now, if we do this and we put it all together as one giant number, you see that there is no sleight of hand. It's just like done according to the book, and we have done everything, and the files are available for you. You can verify it for yourself. And then, subhanAllah, when you copy and paste this number, and I suggest that for this calculator, refresh your page whenever you want to put a big giant number. And then when you do this, you see that, subhanAllah, this number is multiple of 19. And if you see at the end of it, it is ending in 6234, the number of the total numbered verses in Quran. And the number of the digits, 12,696, subhanAllah. So this is the second number that actually was mentioned there in that section. So see, now we are with two different numbers. One of them is 12,692, and one of them is 12,696 digits. Subhanallah, you're adding to the digits of the number, and you're moving stuff around, and still they end up being multiple of 19. That's why this is a miracle, and this is just the beginning of the rabbit hole. You will see lots of numbers that you have to fall prostrate, to the creator of the universe, for these numbers. So, okay, inshallah, moving on to number 3. Number 3 is the same previous number with this difference that we are adding the number of the chapters as well, between the total number of the verses and the numbers of the verses. So when we have chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 verses, and then you have the number of the chapter, number 1, and then the total number of the verses of the chapter, 7. So we have 286 verses. Chapter 2, let me zoom it in a little bit. Chapter 2, and then 286 number of the total verses. 200 verses, chapter 3, and the number of the total verses, 200. And this is this number. Until the end of Quran, you will see chapter 114, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then chapter 114, and then the number of the verses, 6 for that chapter, and then obviously 6,234, the total number of numbered verses in Quran. So this is this number. Now, if you put it together, you have this number, subhanAllah, and this is a very giant number, 12,930 digits. And if you copy and paste this inside the submission.guide calculator, you see that, subhanAllah, this is a multiple of 19, and it's 12,930 digit long. So subhanAllah, this is the third number that we are dealing with, third giant number, subhanAllah. Now, if we move to number 4, So again, I need to say that we are moving according to the number of the numbers mentioned here. Third number, now fourth number. See here we have actually the third number, which is 12,930 digit long, and that was the one that we just checked. Now we're moving to the fourth number. Okay. Now the fourth number is the same number, the same previous number with a little bit of change. With this difference that we are, so number 7 was here previously, okay, after the number of the chapter. Now we're moving it back in the beginning. See, so we are playing with numbers, that's very giant. We are not making one simple change to it. And as you see, the building block of Quran is not changed. It's just there. The verses of Quran, the chapters of Quran are there. We're not moving them around. We're just moving the components, the characteristics of the actually the chapters and the verses of Quran around. And this is Subhanallah that you see these things. Okay. Now we have 7, which is the total number of verses of chapter 1. Then the number of the verses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then number of the chapter 1. 286, then 286 the verses, and then number chapter 2. So what we have done is that we moved that total number of verses to the beginning, before the beginning of the verses. That's what we have done throughout the actually verses. And if you go to the end of Quran, you see that 6 is here, the number of the chapter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 114, the number of the chapter, and then the total number of numbered verses in Quran. And when you put it as a big giant number here, you see that here you can verify any of these numbers for yourself. And then when we go to the giant calculator, and if you put it here, you see a multiple of 19. Subhanallah, that this giant number is a multiple of 19. And then if you go to the bottom of it, you see that it's 12,930 digit long. Subhanallah. So this is the next number that we have. So I'm refreshing this so that for the next number it's ready. So this one was the fourth number. Now we move to the fifth number. The fifth number is we are doing something different here. We have those numbers there. Now we are starting to get the sum of the numbers. So what we are doing is that we are saying 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7, which ends in 28. And then we say 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 until plus 286. We're ending up with 41,041. You can check any of these numbers for yourself. And basically, if you search sum of integers on the internet, you see that there is a formula. It says that n multiplied by n plus 1 divided by 2, and then that will be the sum of the integers from one number to another number. Okay, and it's really interesting how mathematics works so intricately, and it's you cannot, one change of numbers in this place and then the whole thing would collapse. Subhanallah. I mean, that's the beauty of it, that shows that this is a miracle without any doubt. And we are doing different stuff with the same components. I mean, and that's why it is marvelous, and you're ending up with a multiple of 19 all the time. That's why it is so miraculous. Subhanallah. And then chapter 3, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6, and then until 200, you end up with 20,100. And until the end of Quran, you end up with 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6, you end up with 21. And now you're going to have this number as the giant number, as always. And this is the beauty of it, that you can see for yourself that this number is also a multiple of 19. Subhanallah. I'm just copying and pasting it in the application, and we see that it's a multiple of 19. Subhanallah. And it's 12,836 digit long. So this is the next one that I wanted to talk about. Now, the next digit that we want, the next number that we want to talk about is number six. Number six is this number, the same number, with this difference that we have moved the sum of integers to the beginning. Now, the interesting thing is that we are moving things around. In mathematics world, this absolutely should cause a collapse in the number, but no, still, because it is from the creator of the whole universes, the seven universes, and the creator of everything, it's still a multiple of 19. Against all the odds, against all the statistics, this is also still a multiple of 19. So we are moving the sum of integers to the beginning of the numbers, beginning of the chapters. And this is, subhanAllah, the same number with this difference that we are moving the sum of integers to the beginning. Now, if you go here, you see that we have done the same thing, one big giant number, put one another after one another, and make sure that when you're doing it for yourself, when you want to move from this one to the other one, get a copy from these on the Google Drive. You can get it on your computer in your Word file, or put it in another Google Docs, and then make sure that there are no spaces between these numbers. Absolutely make sure that there are no spaces. And then when you do that, you end up with this number, which doesn't have any spaces in between, and everything is just like one giant number. And then when you copy and paste it, you go into the calculator, you click it, you put it here, see multiple of 19, subhanallah. And again, 12,836 digit long. I mean, I am speechless up to this point, subhanallah. I personally like made these things, but right now that I'm talking about it, it's so overwhelming, that we have so many miracles, subhanallah. Now we are moving to number seven. Number seven, we are doing something absolutely interesting. you know, well, we had the verses of Quran, so always from chapter 1 to chapter 114. Now we are doing the backward movement. We are doing chapter 114 to chapter 1. So we are going chapter 114, chapter 113, chapter 112, and then the last one is going to be chapter 3, chapter 2, chapter 1. But we are reversing the order altogether. SubhanAllah. I mean, this is why this is a miracle beyond humanity, beyond the capability of mankind, as well as the gens combined. And so you have the total sum of numbers, the total sum of the integers for each chapter at the end of it. It's like the not the previous one, the one before that, the number before that. But then the order is absolutely reversed, completely reversed. And if you look at the big giant number, you see that now it is vice versa. We are studying from chapter 114, chapter 113, chapter 112, and then going to the beginning of Quran. And the color code can help you see these numbers, subhanallah. And that's wonderful. Chapter 2, chapter 1, you see that. And then when we are putting this into the calculator, you see that, subhanallah. This is a multiple of 19, and this number is 12,836 digit long. And that, again, let's check this calculator. The same calculator, I'm going to put 114, see multiple of 19, 135. It's not a multiple of 19. I'm just checking to make sure that the calculator is working fine, okay? And it's working fine, subhanallah. Now, so this one was number 7. Now, next number would be number 8. Number 8 is a smaller number. It's 474 digit, and it's different from the other numbers, but it's really interesting because here we're doing all sorts of things with the components of Quran, and that's the beauty of it, that no matter what we do, we're still ending up with a number which is a multiple of 19. Okay. Now, the first thing that we are doing here is that we are going with the grand sum of verse numbers. So you have like all the verse numbers in the Quran, okay? So you have, let's go to this one. If you look at it, you see you have these verse numbers, right? And we had the sum of integers. This one was uh, 28. This one was the sum of integers was 41,041 and 20,100, and so on and so forth till the end of Quran. Now we're putting all of them together, and we are ending with this number, this digit, which is 333,410. That's the grand sum of verse numbers in Quran. Then we put another number, the total number of numbered verses in Quran. So we know that many, like 113 chapters, begin with Bismillah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. And then the thing is that so chapter 1 is numbered, Bismillah is numbered. Chapter 9 doesn't have a Bismillah, and the other chapters are not numbered. So excluding those unnumbered verses, which are those Bismillahs which are unnumbered, we have 6,234 numbered verses in the Quran. And then we have 114 chapters or surahs. And then we go with the other features of the Quran. We go with chapter 1, that will be the surah number, and then number of verses, 7. Chapter 2 and 286 verses. Chapter 3, 200 verses. Chapter 4, 176 verses. Chapter 5, 120 verses. Till the end of Quran, you go here, you end up with chapter 114, chapter 114, 6 verses. And this is this number that we are doing here. And if you put it together, that was number 8. If you put it all together, you end up with this number. And if you simply copy and paste it inside the calculator, you see that this is a multiple of 19, and it has 474 digit. It's 474 digit long. Subhanallah. Now this one was the 8th number. Now we go to the 9th number. The same thing, reversed. Grand sum of total verse numbers, total number of numbered verses, 114 chapters. Now we had surah number, then total number of verses. Now we are reversing that. We are doing the number of verses, then the surah number or the chapter number. Chapter 2, 286 verses, then surah number. Chapter 3, 200 verses, then surah number, chapter 3. And so on and so forth till the end of Quran. You end up with chapter 113 and 5, which is the total number of verses in the beginning, chapter 114, and the total number 6 verses in the beginning. And this is, if you put it together, you end up with this giant number, which is 474 digit long. And if you refresh, you just delete this and copy and paste this, you see that, subhanAllah, this is a multiple of 19, and in the end it's ending with 6,114. So you see that, subhanAllah. So this is the beauty of it, and no matter what you're doing with the numbers, they're still ending up with multiples of 19. Now the next number, we go to a smaller number. It's 377 digit long. What we are doing here is that we are putting only the total number of integers. Remember, chapter 1 had 7 verses. So when you count them together, you make them add them together, you end up with 28. Chapter 2 had 286. You add them together, you end up with 41,041. Chapter 3 had 200 verses. Then you end up with 20,100, and till the end of Quran, you end up with 21 for the last chapter, which is 114, and then you have to add the grand sum total of all the numbers here. So when you add all of these together till the end of Quran, you end up with this number, 333,410. Now, if you put it together, you end up with this number, and if you put it in calculator, subhanAllah, you see that it's a multiple of 19, 377 digit long. So this is the 10th number. Now, if you go to the 11th number, now I need to remind everybody that we are here, we are moving forward in the appendix 1, and we are going to the, technically, we are going to the 11th number here. Yes. So we have covered ninth number, 10th number. Now we are at the 11th number, which is a 612 digit long actually numbers, 612 digit long number. Now, if we go here and open this one up, you see that, okay, we have total number of chapters, total number of numbered verses, and then right now we have the sum of the integers for each chapter, and we have added number of the chapters as well. So we have, and look, people, we are just doing different stuff with the numbers, and statistically this is impossible that these are becoming multiples of 19, all of them. Statistically, it's impossible, but it's happening because it's a miracle. That's why it is a miracle. That's why it's beyond capability of humanity, If you have like 5 dice and you just throw them into the sky and want to have like a certain result, say that you want 6 for all the dice, five of them. The chance of that happening is 1 in 120 chances. So right now we are at 11th number, It's more than that. So I've just checked it. If we are at 15, then the possibility of it would be something like 0.000125, meaning that in every 1,000 chances that would possibly exist, one of them might be this. Okay, technically that's impossible. We are getting to 0 because 1 in a 1,000 is nothing. It's just like not possible at all. How is it possible that we have such a book 1,400 years ago that we're not talking about literary miracle of Quran. We're not talking about the verses. We're not talking about anything. We're just talking about the numbers, components of the Quran, and you see that they're all becoming multiple of 19. And as the Messenger of Covenant said, if somebody asks you why 19, we say the creator of the whole universe said 19, because in Surah 74, the creator says 19. Over it is 19. Alayha tesat ashar. Okay, so that's what it is. We are not deciding 19. 19 is mentioned by the creator of the universe, subhanallah. Now, 114 number of surahs, 6,234 total of number verses, and then chapter 1, some of the integers, chapter 2, some of the integers, chapter 3, some of the integers, and then go to the end of it, chapter 114, and some of the integers. And when you put all this together, you end up with this big number. And then if you copy and paste it here, you see that it's multiple of 19, 612 digit long, subhanallah. Now we're going to do something else. We're going to move to number 12. When we move to number 12, we're going to go back to those very big numbers, okay? Now we have total number of chapters, total number of numbered verses, grand sum of number verses, and then again, we have the components of the verses. With this difference that we are only adding the number of the chapters. Chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5. We are adding the number of the chapter to the beginning of these. Till the end of Quran, we have chapter 112, chapter 113, chapter 114. And then when you put this as a big giant number together, putting it in calculator, let me refresh it for the big numbers. I suppose that it works for the without refreshing as well, but it's better to refresh to make sure that we are not running into any glitches. So subhanallah, you see that this is a multiple of 19 and 12,712 digit long. Subhanallah. This was the 12th number. Now we move to the 13th number, 235 digit. Okay. What do we have? We have total number of numbered verses, only this one. Then total number of verses of chapter 1, total number of verses of chapter 2, total number of verses of chapter 3, total number of verses of chapter 4 until the end of Quran, total number of chapters of verses of chapter 114, and then again we have to put the total number of numbered verses of Quran. So we are putting it once in the beginning and once in the end to close the cycle. So now we are ending up with this number, and then you put it in the calculator, multiple of 19. Subhanallah, 235 digit long. Now number 14, when you go to number 14, this one is again a giant number, total number of numbered verses, total number of surahs, only the verses. We're not adding any numbers before or after the verses of each chapter. They're just like raw verses, that's it. And then again at the end, we are adding the total number of numbered verses and the total number of the chapters. So this shows that the number of the chapters must be 114, and they are not more or less. And the verses of Quran are the numbered verses are 6,234. And there is one point that I want to make everybody pay attention to, is that Surah 9, actually the ultimatum, Bara, is the chapter that we know that there were two satanic verses at the end of it. The interesting thing is that if you try it for yourself and start adding, for example, 128, 129, the two satanic verses, the whole thing collapses. Try it for yourself, and you see that the whole thing collapses, and then it's not going to become that. And it absolutely shows us that chapter 9 must be 127 verses, no more, no less. If you get rid of any of these numbers, then they don't become multiple of 19. Something is missing and it will collapse. So it absolutely shows that the number of the chapters are what they should be, the chapters are where they should be, and everything is exactly how it was supposed to be from the very beginning. So subhanallah, this shows that that's when we says that the Quran says that we have actually revealed this and we will protect it. Then we understand that this is absolutely like a giant Rubik cube that is locked. You cannot remove any piece from it. If you remove any piece from it, the whole Rubik cube collapses, and you understand that there is something wrong. So you understand that this is absolutely what it should be. Subhanallah. Now, so this number, total number of numbered verses, total number of surahs or chapters, and then numbers of actually each and every verse in each and every chapter, ending with total number of numbered verses and total number of surahs, and then putting it together as a big giant number. You see that there are no white ones here between them. They're just like the colored ones connected to one another. And then we refresh this, putting it here one more time, and subhanallah, you see it's a multiple of 19, 12,479 digit long. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. We can only say subhanallah. There's nothing else. God be glorified. There's nothing else that we can say about these giant numbers. Now the 15th number. The 15th number is this number. We are putting the total. Now we are doing something interesting here. We are saying that, okay, chapter 1 has 7 digits, 7 verses, and it's chapter 1, obviously. Okay? Now what we are doing is that we are saying that 7 plus 1. Then 7 plus 1 is what? 8, right? We are putting 8 here. Now we are saying here, we are saying here 286 verses plus chapter 2. That would be 288, right? So we are doing this for all the, we are doing this for all the chapters till the end. So chapter 3, which is 200 verses. So 200 plus 3, 203. Chapter 4, 176. So that's 4. 4 plus 176 is 180. We are doing this till the end of the chapters, And we have chapter 114 plus 6 verses. That will be 120. And when we do this, and we're going to end up with this giant number. And then When we put this inside the calculator, you see, subhanallah, it's a multiple of 19, 12,774 digit long, subhanallah. This is the next point which is there, and it's really interesting. Now, the next thing, the next thing which is actually that I'm going to talk about, God willing, would be the. Okay, now we're done with these numbers, but then there is one thing. Okay, so we are done with these numbers that we have here. So we have 15th number here in the appendix. Now there was one number that Dr. Rashad Khalifa mentioned in one of the sermons, and off the top of my head, I don't remember which sermon it was, but then you can check it, and if I remember, inshallah, I will say it next time in one of the Quran studies, that they did something really interesting. They did a bigger number than the previous ones, and they said that, okay, now we have the number of the verses here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The number of the chapter, obviously 1, and then the number of the verses of that chapter. So that would be chapter 1, the number of the verses, and then the total number of the verses, and then the number of the verses 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then chapter 2, then 286 verses, total number of verses. And then for the Bismillah Rahman Rahim in the beginning of this chapter, that doesn't have a number, it's not a numbered verse, they put 0 for that Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Subhanallah. Look at this. This is just miraculous. They put 0 there. For chapter 3, they put a 0 here for that Bismillah. Chapter 4, they put it here. Chapter 5, chapter 6, chapter 7, chapter 8. Chapter 9 doesn't have a Bismillah in the beginning of it. So if you put a 0 here, this is not going to be a multiple of 19. But when you don't put it here, it is a multiple of 19, subhanallah. Now, this chapter doesn't have a Bismillah, so we don't put a 0. And those two satanic verses, 128, 129, should not be there, because if they are there, this number doesn't become a multiple of 19. Moving on to chapter 10, you have chapter 10, 109 digits, and then 0 as the 0 as the Bismillah Rahman Rahim, which is unnumbered. It is not numbered in this chapter, which is not numbered in the rest of the chapter. So we only leave a 0 for each and every Bismillah Rahman Rahim, which is unnumbered till the end of Quran, that you get to chapter 114, 6 verses, 0 for the unnumbered Bismillah Rahman Rahim, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the number of jinn. Subhanallah. And when you put this together, again, you're going to end up with a big giant number, which is a multiple of 19. And allow this one to refresh. Now, when you copy it and paste it here, you see that it's a multiple of 19. Subhanallah. 13,038 digit long. This is just mind-numbingly big, when you think about it. And it's still a multiple of 19. That's what it shows, that this is like, these are like superhuman, they are not human made, subhanallah. And again, I left the link for this folder here in the previous previous session, May 27th, by Brother Justin here. And inshallah, I'm going to leave the same ones under this video as well, so that you can verify it for yourself. You have the calculator. Here. You have the mathematical method that we are going to talk about later on, inshallah, in this session, as well as the Google Drive folder that I have left here for everybody to see. So you can download it for yourself, or you can copy and paste them in another Google Docs file, and then you can check them for yourself. Subhanallah. Now, so we are done with this, with this folder. I'm going to move this one aside. We're going to move to the next part that in the today's session that I'm going to talk about, God willing. Now, on submission.ws, we have some mathematical miracles. Subhanallah, they are really interesting, and some of them are not in the appendices, and they have been done by one of our brothers. They have been prepared by one of our brothers, and we are going to examine these as well, inshallah. So we have the correct adhan, so you know that the correct adhan is four times Allahu Akbar, right? And then one La ilaha illallah. So if you go to the geometrical value of the you know the numbers or the letters, okay? So what is the geometrical value for those of you who do not know? If you search it online, you will see that there is something called geometrical value. It is also what we have in the appendices of the Quran as well. So we have for so we have this structure of the alphabet: Aleph, Be, Jim, Dal, He, Wav, Ze, and then He, and you have like the English equivalents here for those of you who do not know Arabic. And then the numbers go like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. When you get to Ye, and then you get to K or Kaf. Starting from Kaf, it goes 10 by 10 up: 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And then when you get to R or Re, then you go by 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900. Then you get to Ghain, which is 1000. So this is something that has been actually set in the mathematics world before the creation of numbers in the Arab world. And if you search it online, you will see that this is something that has been like practice, a very common practice among the people of that time, that they use that. So Quran has used the same structure to go with the numbers for the letters. So this is the beauty of it, and I'm sure that for those of you who have read Quran and looked at the appendices, you have seen this previously. But then we go like this. Okay, so you go by the Arabic writing of the adhan here. So we go by Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. Don't go by the English spelling. Go by the Arabic spelling. Okay. If you look at the Arabic spelling, you will see the correct Arabic spelling. But for those of you who are, interested, let me open up a Google Docs so that you see the way it is written in Arabic, just for Uh, okay, Allahu Akbar. Okay, so this is how it is written. So that would be like Aleph. It would be like Aleph. Lam, Lam, He, Aleph, Ke, Be, Re. Okay? So this is the way it is written. So, and we are breaking it down into the components that it has. Okay? And then, so if you go here, you will see that Allahu Akbar. So we have one Aleph, two Lam, and then He, and then one Aleph, one K, one Be, and one Ra. So you go by the numbers that we have in this structure, in this table, and you put it here. You see that for one Allahu Akbar is going to be this, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, and the last one, which is the La ilaha illallah. Okay? And if you put all of these numbers one after another, you're going to end up with a giant number, which is a multiple of 19. Okay? And we are going to put this inside the calculator to verify for ourselves. Subhanallah, you see that this is a multiple of 19. Subhanallah, and it's 74 digits long. And that's the beauty of it, that the numbers are correct, and the adhan should be the adhan that we are doing right, and we are doing right now, and it is a multiple of 19. Subhanallah. Now, we have another number here not only is this a number multiple of 19, but also if you count the number of digits, you will see that this number is actually composed of 74 digits that we checked. And since 1974 was the year of discovery of the miracle of the Quran and was mentioned in Surah 74. So subhanallah, the number of the digits as we checked here is 74. We see it here as well as here. The year that it was the miracle was found was 1974, and then so we have 74 digits and 19, which is the actually the common denominator of Quran, and voila, Surah 74 is the place that you see number 19 in it. So everything is connected, subhanallah. Now what? So this was done by one of our brothers, and then here we have like um, doing something else with it. Now you're going to do the numbers from actually. So since Arabic is written from right to left, okay, as you see, Arabic is written from right to left. If we do that, if we change the place of the numbers, meaning that right now we had, you went in the first part, you went with Allahu Akbar. So from left to right, we went. Now we're going to do it from right to left, the way the Arabic is written, actually. Okay, so we're going to put these numbers here, and we're going to do it from right to left. We are going to write it from right to left, but we are going to write the numbers from left to right. Let me explain myself one more time. We are writing Arabic from right to left. Okay, so Allahu Akbar. If you look at it, you see that this is how it is written. But we are putting the numbers which are for the geometrical value of each letter under them, right? We are putting it here, and the mathematics is done from left to right. Okay. Now we're going to put this number, all of these numbers after one another. So we're starting with number 1, which is the first Allah Akbar, then 200, then 2, then 20, then 1, then 5, then 30, then 30, then 1, and move on to all of them till the end of it, right? The end of Adhan, you're going to end up with this giant number here. If you copy and paste it here in the calculator, you see that this is a multiple of 19 also, which is 74 digits. Obviously, we didn't change the number of the digits, but we changed the order of the things, how things are done. SubhanAllah. This one is also a multiple of 19. Now, this is something now that has been mentioned in the by Dr. Rashad Khalifa, also in the appendices of the Quran, the contact prayer Salat, but it has also been brought here, but it's worth mentioning, and inshallah we should talk about them. Now we have the number of the rak'ahs, the number of the units of each prayer. So we have the dawn prayer, right? We have the dawn prayer. Let me refresh this. We have the dawn prayer, okay, which is 2 rakas, then or units. Then we have noon prayer, 4 units. Then afternoon, 4 units, and then sunset prayer, 3 units, and then the night prayer, 4 units. If you put these numbers after one another, it's a multiple of 19, and you see that it's a 5-digit long number. This number is 5 digits long, subhanallah. It shows that the numbers of the rak'ahs or the units of the prayers must be this. So this is very, very important. And then if we go to, the surah number 1, that you have all these, actually the footnotes brought from the Quran itself that we have. If you put these numbers, these are the features of chapter 1. So you have chapter 1 and you have 7 verses, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's why it should be only this. Nothing more, nothing less in each unit of prayer that we are doing, okay? It should only be the Surah Al-Fatiha or the key, and it should be absolutely recited in Arabic, okay? So if you put this here, you see that this is a multiple of 19 and it's 8-digit long. This is very important. Now, if you put the features of the verses of Quran for the chapter 1, for Al-Fatiha, you have some features. You have, for example, verse 1, Number of letters, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, 19 letters. The geometrical value, according to that actually table that we had, and the table that I showed you here, this table, according to this table, if you put everything together, you see that Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, the geometrical value of it is 786. You can check these things for yourself. It's so easy. But you need to know the Arabic letters, how they are written, and then when you look at them and you put them in that table, then you would be, inshallah, able to see the geometrical value for yourself. Verse 2, so we start with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, 17 letters, 581 geometrical value. Verse 3, verse 4, verse 5, verse 6, verse 7, 43 letters, and the geometrical value is 6009. So if we only start with the number of the chapter, right? Chapter 1, and instead of the number of each and every verse, we put the number of the letters of that verse. So here we have chapter 1, verse 1. Instead of 1, we put 19, which is the number of letters of Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. 17, the number of the letters of Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Okay? And then till the end of the surah, you're going to end up with this number. And when you put this inside the calculator, you see that this one is also a multiple of 19. Subhanallah. This is the second number that we are talking about Surah Al-Fatiha, or the key. Now, moving forward, if we add something else to this number, you have the first chapter, chapter 1, Al-Fatiha, verse 1, number of the letters 19, and then 786 geometrical value of verse 1. Verse 2, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, 17 letters, 581. Verse 3, number of the letters, geometrical value. Verse 4, number of the letters, geometrical value. Verse 5, number of the letters, geometrical value. Verse 6, number of the letters, geometrical value. Verse 7, number of the letters, geometrical value. If you put all of this together and you put it in the calculator, you see that this is also a multiple of 19, and it is 38 digit long. Subhanallah. Which is also a multiple of 19, 19 times 2. This is showing beyond the shroud of a doubt that everything is perfect. It's not just like haphazard. Everything is absolutely perfect. There is no way out of it. And the interesting thing is that we have what we have in Quran itself, and I don't have it here at this moment. If you have this number, look at this number, the same number that we had, okay? 1, chapter 1, and then number of letters, geometrical value. Verse 2, number of letters, geometrical value. Verse 3, number of letters, geometrical value till the end. Now, if we swap these, right? Swap these sections, write it from the same as what they say. They say that, okay, the Arabic is written from right to left. Why are you doing the numbers from left to right? This is what the Arabs, or better we say the disbelievers or the hypocrites would say, why are you doing this from left to right? Well, God has their number, and it's 0. Because if you do it from left to right, it's from right to left, it's a multiple of 19. What I mean is that if we put these characters, these features that we have, the geometrical value, we're not going to change this feature. 6009, we're going to put it in the beginning. Instead of at the end, we're going to put it in the beginning. 43, it's second to last. Now we're putting it second here. 1072, we're putting it third. That was third to last. Now it is third. And so on and so forth till the beginning of it. And inshallah, if I copy this, if it ignores the spaces, let's see whether it ignores the spaces. Yes, subhanallah, it ignores the spaces, the calculator, and this one is still a multiple of 19. Subhanallah. So we've reversed the order. So it's still a multiple of 19 and it's 38 digit long. Subhanallah. This is just like mind-numbingly beautiful, when you think about it. Now, if we add the number of the verses, okay? Now you had like chapter 1, then verse 1. We didn't have number of the verses here. Now we have added that one as well. We have number of the verse, we have number of the letters of the verse, and then we have the geometrical value. So one more time. We have chapter 1, follow my cursor, okay? We have chapter 1, we have verse 1, number of the letters of verse 1, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, geometrical value of verse 1. Verse 2, that's the number of the verse, number of the letters, and the geometrical value till the end of the Surah Al-Fatiha. When you put this as a big number, inside the calculator, subhanallah, multiple of 19, 45 digit long. How many more proofs do we need? Up to this point, how many proofs have we had? And what is the statistics for any of this being like a coincidence, I mean, this is just like mind-numbing, subhanallah. Now, here, the next point, number 6. Instead of the geometrical value of every verse, let us write down the geometrical value of every individual letter in Surah 1. So this truly awesome miracle shows that the resulting long number consisting of 274 digits is also a multiple of 19. Subhanallah. We have to say Allahu Akbar, really. This number starts with the Surah number. Okay, so we have the Surah numbers, Surah number 1, followed by the number of the verses in the surah, 7, right? Here we have 7. Okay, follow my cursor. So we have surah number 1, number of the verses of surah 1, which is 7, followed by the verse number, which is 1, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, verse 1, followed by the number of the letters. So we have 19, the number of letters of Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim in this verse, and then followed by the geometrical values of every letter in this verse. So we're not going with the total geometrical value. We are going with the geometrical value of every single letter in Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So we have B 2, Se, Sin 60, Mim 40. So Bismillah, so Aleph 1, right? Lam 30, Lam 30, then Ha, He, actually 5, till the end of the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So we have the geometrical value of each and every letter in Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19 numbers, right? Individual numbers for 19 numbers of the letters of the first verse in Quran. We are doing the same thing for the rest of the verses. Verse 2, 17 letters and the geometrical value of those 17 letters. Verse 3, geometrical value, the number of the letters, the geometrical value for each and every one of them. Verse 4, number of the letters, geometrical value of each number. Verse 5, verse 6, verse 7, and this is it till the end of it, right? This number, when done in this way, this is, subhanallah, a multiple of 19. Let's put it all together in the calculator, inshallah. See, multiple of 19, subhanallah. 274 digit long. We can only say subhanallah, Allahu Akbar. Praise be to God, Lord of the universe, subhanallah. God be glorified. That everything is just becoming a multiple of 19. Subhanallah. Now, since I cannot write very long numbers here, let's substitute asterisk for the long number consisting of the number of every verse, followed by the number of letters in the verse, followed by the geometrical value of every individual letter in the verse. So we are putting this big number, okay, in the asterisk of this number here, which we are going to end up with this giant number, inshallah. But then let's take a look at it, see how it's going to look in the end, okay? What are we talking about? Here we're talking about, okay, here we are talking about, let me read from this part. Since I cannot write very long numbers here, let's substitute for the long, substitute asterisk for the long number consisting of the number of every verse, followed by the number of letters in the verse, followed by the geometrical value of every individual letter in the verse that we have talked about, this long number. If we write down the number of the surah, okay, surah number 1, followed by the number of its number of verses, 7 verses, we get 17. 1, 7, so we get 17. Now, the number of the units or the rakas in the 5 daily prayers, we have prayer number 1, which is the dawn prayer, and then 2 units. So we put 2 asterisks in front of it because we are reading 2 al-Fatiha, or the key, surah key in each unit of the dawn prayer. So this is the dawn prayer, number 1, and it has 2 units, right? So we put 2 asterisks in front of it. We're going to put, instead of the asterisk, we're going to put this giant number that we already talked about, okay? Inshallah. Then we have noon prayer. That will be number 2, prayer number 2, 4 units, right? 4 units that we have. So 4 asterisks here. Prayer number 3 would be the afternoon prayer, and then 4 units. We're going to put 4 asterisks here. Prayer number 4 is going to be the sunset, and it's going to be 3. Subhanallah. It should be 3. It must be 3. Not more, not less. And then prayer number 5, and then it should be 4 units. And then we have 4 asterisks here. Now, we are going to substitute, instead of the asterisk, this long number. Instead of each asterisk, we're going to be putting this long number, okay? And this is that long number that is providing us with, and we are going to look how we're going to end up with it. We are going to end up with this big, giant number, right? It shows all the 5 contact prayers during the day and their units, and the Al-Fatiha, the features of Al-Fatiha that we are putting there. Let's refresh the calculator, God willing. Multiple of 19. Subhanallah. 4,636 digit long. Subhanallah. 4,636 digit long. So it shows that all the salats or the contact prayers that we are doing every day are mathematically coded. That's why we have to keep doing them. That's why you grow bigger. And interestingly enough, that 4,634 digit that we had here at the end of this one is also a multiple of 19. So if you put it here instead of this giant number, let me refresh this, God willing. Oh, no, I didn't get the copy for this one. Still going with the previous one. Okay. 4,636 digit of that big number is also a multiple of 19. It's 4 digit long, 19 times 244. Subhanallah. Now, confirmation of Friday prayer. So on Fridays, we know that we have to do 2, instead of 17, we're going to do 15 units, right? Because instead of the noon prayer, we're going to have 2 sermons. We're going to have 2 sermons, and then we're going to have 2 units of prayer instead of the 4 units of the prayer that we normally have for the noon prayer on the other days, okay? So instead of 1-7, you're going to end up with 1-5. That would be 15, correct? So here, the description. Since the Friday prayer consists of 2 sermons and 2 rakas, total is still 4 units, right? So we have 2 sermons and 2 units. That's going to be 4. But then we read only 15 Al-Fatihas or 15 keys on Friday compared with 1-7 on the other days. So this was the discovery of Abdullah Eric, that if we replace the 17 by 15 in the long number in 7, so we had here this long number, instead of 1-7, we are going to have 1-5 because of the 15 units that we are going to read Al-Fatiha in, and we're going to keep the rest of it together, right? Because the dawn is going to be still the first prayer, and it's going to be 2 units. Noon is going to be number 2. It's technically the Friday prayer, right? And we are going to have 4 units, right? Because we are going to have 2 sermons and 2 rak'ahs, or 2 units for the Friday prayer. So we are only going to have 2 al-Fatihas here, not 4 al-Fatihas, because instead of the regular 4 al-Fatihas that we are reading during the noon prayer, we are going to read only 2 al-Fatihas on the Friday prayer, which is instead of the noon prayer. So we are going to put 2 asterisks, not 4 asterisks, compared to the previous one that we had 4 here. Now we have only 2. Then afternoon, we have 4 units. Then Maghrib or sunset, we have 3. And then this one is actually the 5th one, which is the 4th one, right? Which is going to be the 5th prayer is going to have 4 rakas, okay? Now, okay, so we are going to have this, God willing, multiple of 19, subhanallah. This is it. 4,092 digits. And there is one thing that I just paid attention to here. This is like a mistake in the number of the asterisks that we have put here, because this is the sunset prayer and it should have only 3 asterisks in front of it, but it has 4. I'm sure that this is a mistype, but that's fine, because the number of the digits that we had for this one, you saw that it's less than the other one, and that's fine. That's, if you count the digits of this one, you will see that we're on the right path. But this is only a mistake that I just noticed, and God willing, this should be fixed. But if you go to the previous number, let me just go to the previous number. You see that the previous number has 3 asterisks in front of it. Okay, so this, God willing, we should fix this one on the website, but still doesn't make any difference, because the number that we have is a multiple of 19, and this is only a mistake on our side that we have typed, and it should be 3 instead of 4 asterisks. But the number is correct, because if we had one or more of these inserted in here, then it wouldn't have been a multiple of 19. Rest assured, it wouldn't have been a multiple of 19. Subhanallah. Now this is a good thing. It shows that, we cannot mess up with the structure. If we add more rakas or units to our prayer, then it's not going to be a multiple of 19. Therefore, it's not from God. And we know for sure that actually the sunset prayer, which is the 4th one, must be 3 units and not 4 units. Subhanallah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting to the end of this. Brothers and sisters in Islam, this is awesome. This is really awesome. We are still not done yet, but almost we are done. I'm really glad that we had this session today, and inshallah we will continue through these till the end of it, and we see lots of actually multiples of 19, and this is just like mind-numbingly beautiful. Subhanallah. Okay. Now, the next one. Please note that any representation of Surah 1 can replace the asterisks without affecting the outcome. All of them give multiple of 19. For example, a short representation of the Surah key, Al-Fatiha, consists of the Surah number, right? Number 1. And then followed by the verse numbers, okay, 7. and then followed by the total number of letters in Surah 1, which is 139. So the total numbers of the letters in the Surah 1, and then followed by the total geometrical value of the whole Surah, which is 10,143. Okay, so this is a short representation. This is a short representation of Surah Al-Fatiha, okay, or the key. Now we can put it in instead of the asterisks, right? So we're gonna put. So see here, we have three actually rakas or units for the sunset prayer. So we put this number instead of the asterisks. Okay. Now we have Surah number 1, the key. Then we have 7 verses here. Then we have uh, um, here we have actually we have 2, which is 2 rakas for the dawn prayer, then 4 rakas for the noon prayer, then 4 rakas for the afternoon prayer, 3 rakas for the sunset prayer, and the 4 rakas for the night prayer. So if we substitute that number that we just talked about instead of the asterisk, we get this number. And if we put it into the calculator, see that it's a multiple of 19, 177 digits long. Subhanallah. No matter what we do, it still turns out to be a multiple of 19. And that's the beauty of it. You know, that's what I love about this. It doesn't matter. God got their number, you know, and it's 0. It's always a multiple of 19, no matter what we do with it, okay? You should take these to like your mathematics department in MIT and see what they have to say about these numbers becoming multiple of 19. Seems that they're like the magicians, you know, of the mathematics world, okay? And if we take these numbers to them, see whether they understand that this is a miracle, subhanAllah. Now we go for the Friday prayer, okay? Now we know that for the Friday prayer, okay? So we had 1-5 here, okay? And it had 2 sermons instead of 2 rakas, right? So we have the dawn prayer, 2 rakas, right? 2 units. The Friday prayer, it's 4 units, but technically we only read 2 Al-Fatiha because 2 of them are the sermons. So we're reading 2 Al-Fatihas, 2 units. The afternoon is 4 units. The sunset is 3. Again, this is a mistake here. We have to get rid of this number 4. That's been a copy and paste, but that's not going to change the miracle of Quran. That's not going to change the miracle of God, you know, so we shouldn't worry about it. This is a mistype on our side. And it still shows that the miracle of God is perfect, subhanAllah. And then the actually the sunset prayer, so the sunset prayer is 3, right? And then the night prayer is 4. So if we substitute the same number that we talked about, 139, 10,143, we get this number. And then if we copy and paste it inside the calculator, you see that it's a multiple of 19, subhanAllah, 157 digit long. There's no shortage of miracles. Praise be to God, Lord of the universe. Subhanallah, subhanallah. We can only say subhanallah. Now, okay, the first surah in the Quran is mathematically composed in a manner that challenges and stumps the greatest mathematicians on earth. Now we appreciate the fact that when we recite Surah 1, the key during our contact prayer, something happens in the universe and we establish contact with our Creator. The result is perfect happiness, subhanAllah, now and forever. By contacting our Almighty Creator 5 times a day, we nourish and develop our souls in preparation for the big day when we meet God. Only those who nourish their soul will be able to withstand and enjoy the physical presence of Almighty God. All submitters of all nationalities recite the words of the key, which were written by God Himself and given to us to establish contact with Him. This discovery adds to the awesomeness of the key and proclaims clearly that it must be recited in Arabic. When you recite the key in Arabic, your lips touch each other precisely 19 times. Your lips touch each other where the letters B and Me, technically B and M, occur. because the Arabic doesn't have pe or p, right? We only have b and me, and these are the two sounds which linguistically are called technically bilabials, because your lips meet, both the lip, upper lip and lower lip meet each other when you want to say b, and when you want to say m, also it happens with the difference that you are using your nasal cavity, your nose as well, to produce M, but still you have the lips there that need to be there to produce the m sound or the m or b. Okay, so this is what it is. They're bilabials technically. Now there are 4 B's and 15 M's in Surah Al-Fatiha, and this adds up to 19. Subhanallah. Geometrical value of 4 B's is, so the B is 2, so 4 of them multiplied by 2 would be 8, and the geometrical value of 15 M's is 15 multiplies by 40, so the geometrical value of M is 40, right? Remember this, this that we talked about, so if you look at M, you see that it's 14, right? So this is the part that shows that. This is geometrical value of M or M, and this is the geometrical value of B or B, right? So the total geometrical value of the 4 B's and the 15 M's is 608. That is 19 times 32. Subhanallah. Now this is the beauty of it, that we know that it must be recited in Arabic. And the last one, but not the least one, because there are more miracles in the appendices, and that's like a short version of it, subhanallah, that we talked about today. Inshallah, if we decide we should have more sessions of these type, that we show the mathematical miracle inside the appendices of Quran, inside the chapters of Quran, one by one, step by step, God willing, in the future. And then this would be both good for us as well as the viewers, the audience, and it's going to augment everybody in faith. Subhanallah. Now, confirmation of the 5 daily prayers, number of bowings or rukus and prostrations or sujud and tashahhud, that the sitting position, right? One of the common challenges is if Quran is complete and fully detailed as claimed in 619, 38, and 114, where are the details of the contact prayer salat? These people ask this question because they are not aware that the Quran informs us that the contact prayers came from Abraham, 2173 and 2278 in Quran. These are the verses of Quran. If we write down the numbers of the prayers with their bowings or rukus or prostrations, sujud and tashahhud, the sitting position, we get this number. So we have this number, this long number, okay, that I'm going to explain it to you one by one. Here we have this long number consists of the surah that we recite in 5 prayers. So that will be Surah 1, Al-Fatiha, followed by the number of the first prayer. That will be prayer number 1, right? Followed by then the number of the keys, the Al-Fatiha that we recite. 2 of them in the dawn prayer, correct? And then followed by the number of the bowings, the rukus. In each unit, we do 1 ruku or 1 bowing. That will be 2 in dawn prayer because there are only 2 units. And then followed by the number of the prostrations, 4, because in each unit we have 2 prostrations. So technically you have 2 units, then it would be 4 prostrations. Then number of tashahhud, that will be 1 tashahhud. It's going to be 1 sitting position in actually the dawn prayer, 1 tashahhud. Then you have number 2, okay. Then you recite 4 al-Fatiha, okay. Then the next point of it. Oh, okay. Sorry for that. I mistakenly hit the back button. Okay, one more time here. So we have prayer number 2. Then we have the number of the Al-Fatihas that we recite is going to be 4. Okay, the number of the units, the number of the rukus are going to be 4. You're going to have 4 rukus or bowings, and 8 prostrations or sujood, and then 2 tashahhud. Then number 3, which is the afternoon, 4 al-Fatiha, 4 ruku or bowing, 8 sujood, 2 tashahhud. Then we have number 4, which is going to be the sunset prayer. Then we have to be having 3 al-Fatihas, right? 3 units, right? So 3 al-Fatihas. Then 3 rukus, 6 prostrations or sujood, and 2 tashahuds, subhanallah. This is how it's becoming a multiple of 19. And then the 5th prayer, again, 4 al-Fatiha, 4 rukus or bowings, 8 prostrations, and 2 tashahhud. And subhanallah, if you put this number in the calculator, this also becomes a multiple of 19, and it's 26 digit long. Okay, so brothers and sisters, my brothers and sisters in submission, this was our today special session on the mathematical miracle of Quran with these 16 numbers, giant numbers that we talked about, as well as the mathematical miracle that confirms the salat prayers and that we had on the website. Here, let me show you where to find it one more time. You go to the top ribbon, you go to the mathematical miracle, you click on mathematical miracle confirms contact prayer salat. You have these numbers, you can copy and paste them in the big giant number calculator on the submission.guide. So simply you type submission.guide, and then this will come up as the app that you have. You can do it on your app on your cell phones as well. If you want to do it on a browser, you could do this. You go to the left ribbon, you go to the calculator, and you just copy and paste your numbers here, or you type your numbers to see whether they are multiple of 19 or not, and you could see it for yourself. So with that, God willing, I will end today's session. Peace be upon you all, and until the next special session, Assalamu alaikum.